It's another late night sculpting stream because it's late at night and I'm sculpting, and I might as well talk to myself and let people eavesdrop while I ramble and sculpt. So this one is going to be a buddy of mine who has no idea is getting it, which is usually one of my favorite things to do. Trying to decide what I should start with. It's one of those things. Let's see. I think I'm trying to figure out like the shape of the face. See, a lot of these, when you're doing uh, these incognito um, sculptures, you're really sort of at a disadvantage because you're grabbing pictures off of the internet and people's social media accounts and so forth. And when you look at what people put on social media, it's usually a picture like portrait straight on, which is a little bit limiting because so much of a likeness has to be captured from things like shadow, from different angles you can kind of compare things to, like put some uh, put some images up that will just kind of make a more three-dimensional appearance, I guess, is what I'm really uh, kind of after. And let's see here. Let's take this guy here. Now, this fellow does have a full beard, which will help me. I'm trying to get in here a little bit. Oh, good. There's a good profile shot. Okay. Not too bad. Nose is a little bit long. Trim that up a bit. Okay, where's my X-Acto knife? Oh, there's my X-Acto knife. It snuck up on me. It's funny when you're doing this. It's you take off just the tiniest piece of clay, and it doesn't seem like much, but when you're dealing with something on such a small scale, a little piece of clay can be a big piece of clay. That makes sense. I accidentally hit off my mic. I've got the basic shape down. Um, so what I'm going to start doing is I think start hitting the eyes. Will be the easiest thing. See, I think what I should probably do first is hit uh, the spot. Right around. See, before I can work on the eyes, what I need to do is check out the area surrounding the eye itself. Okay, because before you start doing any kind of detail on the eyelids, you want to make sure you have the correct cavity and depth in here. Because oddly enough, the shadow that falls inside this corner of the eye socket here, I find has a big effect on how well you can capture a likeness. So I can get that going in that way. Can never have enough styluses. I think I've got 8. Okay. It's interesting too because this always makes this little line that comes in this way. And if you follow it down, it's kind of cool because there's always this line. See if I can show it here. Let me see if I can get one of these buttons is focusing. There we go. Okay. So right here, there's a line that comes right in from the corner of the eye socket here. And this always carries down through here. And it makes this sweeping line that goes like that. And it's kind of interesting because it pulls in. And at first, what I want to do is I want to take all of the detail and I'm going to make it larger and more noticeable than it actually is. From there, I'll start to change things a little bit. Bring it around like that. Okay, now. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to check this out on the photo source. Okay. All right, I pulled that down a little much, a little farther than I should have. Okay, this side, I can pull up a little bit and adjust. The other side, I'm going to have to make a little bit of a clay. Ooh, that's interesting. See, as I'm looking at this upside down, I can really see some of the differences. Like this side of the face really sits down much lower than the other side. I didn't realize it was that off, but it is. So I'm going to have to grab my little thingy here, grab some clay here, find my little rolling pin that I left someplace. I have a couple heads in the oven right now. It doesn't sound right every time I say it. Now he's got nothing, head in the oven. Little Tom Petty song there. Okay. Ooh. You know what? Before I do that, I have to decide what's more accurate. This side of the face is actually raised out too much, or this side of the face is pushed back more. Huh. I think it's definitely this side that's a little bit more accurate. Okay. So what I'm going to do is sort of eyeball this a little bit and pull this around like that. Around like that. And then I'm going to take one of these little flat chisel looking tools. Sorry to be so technical. See, looks kind of like a chisel. That lets me kind of peel this sucker up like that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and I'll lay it right in there. Cut them about there and cut them off here. Now I got Tom Petty stuck in my head. Jeez. Well, could be worse. Could be a much worse song. Okay. I'm going to pull this down like that. Get that little space there for the eyelid. Work it into place. I got a little cough. A little gin and tonic. Delicious. Let me check my thingy here. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit better, I think. Okay. Now that I've adjusted that, I got to adjust this here. Little spot like that. Can I peel you up with this, I think? A little. Okay. It's probably going to be a short stream. I don't know how much gas I have in the tank. No classes in the morning until 10. So I can sleep in until 8. 8:30. Provided the dog doesn't wake me up. I'm having some health issues with my dog. She's 11. She's been having some pancreatitis issues, and she's been having some finickiness with her diet. And she's lost about 13 pounds. I thought it might have been a tooth issue, but I just had her at the vet, and they put her under, and they checked out all of her teeth, cleaned up all the tartar and gingivitis that she had, and now she is chewing better. I think at some point she may have had a stroke. She wasn't chewing right on the left side of her mouth. So here we are, about close to $2,000 later in vet bills. And she's Yeah, she's pretty good. Tonight, she's been eating baby food. Baby food's got expensive since I bought it. Of course, my daughter's now 20, so it's been a while since I bought baby food. Okay, that part. Now I think what I'm going to start doing is shaping the mouth area. This is always an interesting part. Now, see, this is where it gets hard. Because when you're taking photos off the internet, like I said, everybody's usually facing forward and they're usually smiling. And that doesn't help. Okay. Like, it's fine for women. Women tend to, like, as I said before in another stream, women tend to like their pictures, their action figures with a little bit of a smile. Men, we want to be serious and looking a little grim and kick-ass. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy here, and I'm going to place it right here. Now I got to do the same thing on this side. See what I did is I rolled this little oval, and then what I'll do is I'll slice here, so I get this kind of oblong, almost teardrop shaped piece. It's a little smaller on this side, but it's all right. I can work with it. Just have to add a little bit more later. And of course, depending on your subject, like this guy here, his cheeks are kind of full in the front. As I said, I'm doing a little bit more pronounced than I really need. It's a little bit easier to take away than it is to add sometimes. Okay. Again, this is where it comes in handy to grab some pictures of people when they're at a distance. Because if you look at someone at a distance, it helps you to notice what are the most pronounced things about their face. And you can start to highlight that. And sculpting like this is a lot like doing caricature. And caricature is always interesting because it's what you're really doing is an exaggeration. And it's interesting because excuse me 1 second. Okay, all right, that didn't help me. I was looking for something, sorry. Anyway, so when you take when you take a an image that's looking farther away, and you can okay. Let me see here. Okay. Sorry, I had to help out a friend there a second. Okay. Now, okay. Got that there. All right. So I'm looking at this picture from a distance, and I notice what I'm going to have to do. I'm really going to have to pull this in here at the side of the eye. That definitely, it's interesting because the face has planes to it. So you'll notice that, like, you have this plane here. It's kind of like this way, it goes in this way. And you have it, it's almost like the face is almost octagonal. Or maybe, yeah, I guess maybe hexagonal. Okay, so you'll have, like, if I hold it this way, you'll have a plane this way, a flat plane, and a plane this way. Then you have the sides here. Yes, I guess octagonal would probably be the best the best way to put it. But it's an octagon stuck on the back of a circle. So that's interesting. Now, so this guy's got a part of his face comes down here like this. I'm saying with the planes. This would probably be a lot easier. I've thought about this before. I know there's programs that do this, that take an image and make sort of like a wire mesh out of an image. And that would probably be really helpful to help me see the planes in someone's face. Of course, it might be a little bit of cheating. Yes, cheating is, it's all relative, right? Well, probably not your wife. I tend not to have senses of humor with that kind of stuff. Okay. So I got the cheek kind of comes down like this. And there's these muscles in the face that I used to know what the muscles in the face were called. But it's been a while since I've really looked them up and studied up on it. There's a time there when I was like, I really went crazy with the kinesiology of the face muscles and stuff. And you really study on what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to move, the different positions of the face. And now, go here, like that. There we go. Okay. All right, now I think I'm going to start working on the shape of the mouth. Because I just did a rough cut of the mouth when I was starting this, and you definitely need to get the measurements right on it first. It's hard too because this fellow's got a beard. Beards are a blessing and a curse. They're a blessing because when you do a beard, a lot of the face you can hide behind the beard. Now, this guy's beard's a little bit like mine, which is kind of close cropped, which is sort of a pain. But we're going to see what I can do. I'm going to check out a couple different angles here. 1, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Hold that up there like that. Yes, and this is another problem too. You always get people smiling in pictures. It's very hard to interpret a smiling person into a non-smiling picture that they have. So you have to really hunt and scour their Facebook pages and Instagrams and Twitters and and their live streams and try and capture those moments when their face is kind of still, which is really a pain in the butt. Okay. Because if I'm sculpting a mouth in a relaxed position, a smile doesn't help me. Okay. This guy's got a short upper lip. Got to thin out the nose a bit. Bring it in through here. Like so. And yes, I still have Tom Petty singing in my head. Let's just put on Traveling Wilburys and just sing along to that. Okay. All right, now I got to round out this a bit. Sometimes fingers are just the best sculpting tools. Be Ant-Man. Shrink down like Ant-Man and use fingers all the time. But that's not going to work, so I'll have to do it like this. We make money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. All you young whippersnappers don't know that commercial. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's old like me and remembers TV like that. It's an old commercial for a financial services company. We make money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. John Houseman did the voice. John Houseman had a great voice. He did a movie. I like horror movies. I like supernatural horror movies the best. I really like a good vampire story, a good ghost story. And John Houseman he was an ensemble cast, I believe. I think Fred Astaire was in it. It was called Ghost Story. And it was about these four friends that would get together and they would tell each other ghost stories. And one day, one of the old men, he's got twin grandsons, and one of them dies mysteriously. And goes back to their youth, a little mistake they made when they were young. And yeah, kind of disturbing, which is, how a ghost story should be. Ghost stories should be a little disturbing. If it's not really scary. A ghost story, a vampire story. Hard to decide which is the best genre of horror movie. I don't like slasher movies. Slasher movies tend to bug me a bit. It's like I like my frights, a little otherworldly. I guess you could make the argument that, like, some guy getting shot over and over again, still living, is sort of supernatural, but it just doesn't have the same feel. Okay, I need my little whatchamacallit thingy. I'm gonna start naming these sculpting tools. They're also random. I got this one thing that I customized, and I took it and let's see if I can find it here. Originally, it looked like this. Okay, and then what I did, I took this thing and I grinded it down. I flattened it out, so I got these tiny little pieces here like that. I'm not going to focus right, but it's flat on one side, and it really helps to get in there and do some really fine-tuning detail like that. And go here. Okay. This guy here. I'm going to start adding some nostrils. Why are you adding nostrils right now, you say? I'm glad you asked that. Because the nostrils, in many cases, help to define the nose. And when you put the nostril in, it helps you realize, like, oh, you know what? This guy's nose comes in here like this a little bit. So if you're looking at him straight on, you see these little flare that there. Now, what I have to do is trim just a little bit there, like that. I also have to get the nostrils even because this one's up here a little bit. I got to double check the length of this. I think the nose is off. I think the nose actually needs to be a little bit longer. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is fire up my caliper, zero it out again because it didn't stick. I'm going to go here. Okay, so I'm at 39 millimeters. And I'm going to hold this up to my photo until it's 39 millimeters. Now I'm going to adjust this right there. Put this down here so I can hold this. Okay, now I'm going to hold it right there. I'm going to shrink this down. So the nose from bridge to tip has to be 9 millimeters. Yeah, that's off a bit. Now, the real question is, it might not be off. See what I have to do. I'm going to take this, and this fella's head, look, the bridge of the nose was off a bit. See, this has to come up a little bit here, like so, around the eye. Because as I'm looking at the picture, I had this down too low. So it's like that. Now, let's see what I got. It's still a little off. And my dog is barking. I'll be back. I'm back. Okay. All right. Had to let the dog out. She's really a sweet dog. I can't say she's a good dog because she's always been a terribly thieving. She she tends to look at things in the kitchen, and if it's not put out of reach, she'll find a spot and be like, "Ooh, they must want me to have this because they left it here for me." She's stolen bags of apples, bags of rolls. When she was younger, she actually ate two batches of brownies, two big plates of brownies, and didn't die, despite the fact that it's chocolate can be toxic, cumulative toxic to dogs, toxin to dogs. But she's still going strong. As soon as we can get her over all this stomach issues she's having, I think we're going to get a few more years out of the old girl. I already explained to her she's not allowed to die yet. I like having her around. She's really a sweetheart. She fits in well with the rest of the family because she's just as ADD as everyone else is. Me, my son, and my daughter are all like, say something, and like about 10 minutes later, are completely forgotten all about it. Okay, let me hold this up to the profile shot that I have here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, zoom in here. Drop down like that. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's actually pretty accurate. Huh, how about that? Okay, now I'm going to jump back here on this on this nostril again. As soon as I can find my smallest stylus, which has vanished. Ah, there you go. See, I brought up ghost stories and ghost movies. And my tools mysteriously moved. I'm debating whether or not I should just do an entire action figure of my friend here, or just do a head sculpt and let him kind of decide what direction he wants to take his own action figure in, because he's also a collector. As I said, he has no idea it's coming. He's got a small little YouTube channel. I'm sure he's going to do he will end up doing a reaction video to it, which is always fun. I like to see those reactions. Okay. All right. Where did you go? All right. I think we're going to break out these guys here. I love these little things. Okay. I still have Tom Petty stuck in my head. Okay. I'm going to take this guy here. Do a little scrapey. Nostril down to there. And a little scrapey on the side. Bring the nostril down to there. Okay, this definitely has to get trimmed here. Like that. Okay. All right. Okay. Pull this upper lip down a little bit now. So close it off like that. Now, I do have to find my little flat piece thing. Is this it? That's not it. That's not it. I have a little piece of black tape around it. The problem is I have a piece of black tape around a bunch of them. What I was thinking about doing tonight was setting up my sculpting tools by like into little pouches, like the most commonly used ones and the least commonly used ones, and then I would kind of go from there. But I don't know if that'll work because it always changes. It's been pretty consistent for a while now. I usually use the same ones over and over again. But every once in a while, I'm like, you know what I need? I need that one specialty one. Then I'm like, and where did I leave it? I think I'm going to finish my drink here. And then I'm going to finish a couple spots on this. I'm going to call it a night. I have a mostly free day tomorrow. I've only got a couple classes. So I am going to sit down. I'm going to sculpt my butt off. I am looking to get my docket cleared. I have a couple of these that I had to do. Then I have a commission. But what I'm trying to do, instead of jumping right in on the commission, I'm trying to get back into some practice so that when I do the commission piece, I'm at the top of my game. So when somebody's paying for something, I really, really try to do, something above and beyond, really make them impressed with it. It's hard to say because I don't know whether or not, like when people get one of these, if they really want it to look like them and they see a passing resemblance and they're like, oh, okay. Or they want to, or if they really look at it and it's like, wow, that does look like me. There's a couple of people I sent these off to, but like the one guy that really didn't see his resemblance in it wasn't like an action figure collector, and there weren't very many source photos of him. There were a few pictures on Facebook, and again, when people are on Facebook, they're taking these pictures and everyone's smiling. Everybody's always like, oh, look at me, I'm I'm looking at the camera here, and it doesn't really work the way you would think. People's faces look completely different when they're contorted. Okay, that's all for tonight. I think I'm going to hit the sack. Thanks for watching.